Ladies and gentlemen, start your video. Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Stews here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I am going to be doing a review on Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. So Furiosa Mad Max Saga is the fifth Mad Max film to come out, and it is a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, centered on the fan favorite Mad Max character, Fury Road character, Furiosa. And so yeah, it came out just this year in 2024, and is directed once again by George Miller, just like all the other Mad Max movies, and it stars Anya Taylor-Joy, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Brooke, Josh Hellman, Nathan Jones, John Howard, Angus Sampson, Charlie Fraser, is that Alia Brown, and Elsa Pataki, etc. And so Furiosa Mad Max Saga tells the story, taking place years before the events of Mad Max Fury Road, where the world has fallen apart. So it's partially a reboot. It rebooted a few aspects of Mad Max, the old Mad Max films, particularly with depicting the world going into hell, just like with the beginning of Mad Max 2, the Road Warrior. So a young Furiosa, which is the particularly the Alila Brown, that's her pronunciation, I believe, is kidnapped, is snatched and kidnapped by the green place of many mothers, into the hands of a great biker horde led by the warlord Dementus. And so yeah, she is taken away by her mother, while her mother tries to save her, but unfortunately, Furiosa's mother gets killed, and so now Furiosa is on her own, and she actually ends up joining the biker horde, as she is adopted by Immortan Joe. So yeah, now she's a part of this clan, and she pretty much grew up with the clan, and she was basically raised by Dementus and stuff. As they're able to find this oil place, and in this wasteland. So yeah, so the people there are pretty much fighting for survival, for water and milk, and also a bunch of other resources. I guess oil is part as well. And so yeah, Furiosa joins the other people in like a fight against the rogue people, and what happens? Furiosa is very desperate to actually find the Demented and get revenge on him for killing her mother as a challenge. So yeah, that's the plot for it. Now, you guys know how much I love Mad Max Fury Road. It is my favorite movie, 2015. I love it for just the fact that it feels like one of those love letters to action movies. It's pretty much everything I love about action, and represents why action is my favorite genre. Now, I wouldn't say I'm passionate about the Mad Max films, because when it comes to the OG ones, there's only one good film in the franchise. And for the others, you got the overrated first film, and Mad Max 3, which was not good either, by far the worst one. But yeah, going into Furiosa, I was hyped for this one, not only because it looks like Fury Road all over again, not only because it's another Mad Max film with George Miller, and after the success of Fury Road, it made me want to check out more. But there is actually one bigger reason on why I was hyped for this movie, and that is Anya Taylor-Joy. I still remember back in 2021, where I was told on Instagram DM that Anya Taylor-Joy has been cast as young Furiosa, and I've heard a lot about it. Yeah, they announced. Yeah, I haven't forgotten that it was 2021, the same year where I became obsessed with Anya Taylor-Joy, thanks to me checking out the Queen's Gambit, which is in my top 10 favorite shows of all time, and I really need to review the Queen's Gambit at some point in time. But it made me check out so much other Anya Taylor-Joy. I mean, other Taylor-Joy movies. And when I was told that Anya Taylor-Joy was going to play Furiosa, I was like, hell yes, sign me up. And at the time, it was actually announced release in 2023, and I was like, oh, okay, I have to wait 2 years for this, but it got delayed to 2024. Oh boy, yeah. But I was still like holding out hope for this film, because again, it's a film starring Anya Taylor-Joy as the lead, and considering that I was actually going to see her as a badass, yeah, that really got me hooked. And I remember even calling this my most anticipated movie of all time back then. Although now, yeah, as I grew up in session with more actresses, there were other movies I got more hype. I wasn't anticipating more than this. But yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy, regardless, is in my top 5 favorite actresses of all time list. I absolutely love her. I mean, even no matter she did, films like Playmobil and the New Mutants, that doesn't change my thoughts on her. I am actually considering giving Anya Taylor-Joy a chance in the New Mutants. Yeah, sure. New Mutants sucks, and there's no way I'm going to be more. There's no way no way the movie will be good or even mediocre. It'll still be terrible, but I'll probably give Anya Taylor-Joy a chance, hoping that she can be a redeeming quality to it. Playmobil though, hell no. But yeah, and I know, like, if you've actually been paying attention to my videos throughout this year, I've been constantly spoon feeding you on like Furiosa being one of my absolute most anticipated movies of the year. Like throughout a lot of my videos from after I saw Dune Part 2 until now, I was like constantly talking about how Furiosa is my most anticipated movie for the rest of the year. And even on my Instagram, I've been like constantly spoon feeding it to you guys, which shows how hyped I was. If I remember correctly, in my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024, this was my second most anticipated movie of the year, second only behind Dune Part 2. And so that's why after Dune Part 2 came out, I started to like spoon feed you all about Furiosa, like and how hyped I am. Also, the main reason why I kept on constantly spoon feeding you about Furiosa is because of like the lack of hype this movie had. I mean, this is the follow-up to Mad Max Fury Road, and they kept the same director, George Miller. If this was directed by someone else other than George Miller, if they changed director, then I would have understood some people not liking this. But I made a whole video like addressing people feeling concerned about this film and not being interested, and they're like, oh, Furiosa is going to suck. I'm not going to see this film because it's not Fury Road. Why isn't Charlize Theron playing Furiosa? Why did he get a hot actress to do it? Yeah, and I'm hearing people say that the CGI looks bad. How? Some other just pointless complaints like, oh, it's just a prequel, spin-off. And some even complaining that this is another girl boss movie. I'm sorry, but please stop hating on girl power. It's getting old. In fact, a Furiosa-led Mad Max movie is what we need exactly. And I saw this movie today in IMAX. I literally saw it at the first showing in my IMAX theater because that's how much in a hurry I was to go see this film. And after seeing Furiosa, I gotta say, so amazing. Yeah, this movie was perfect. 3 years of me just hyping the hell out of this movie. It just absolutely paid off so well. In fact, dare I say, this movie might be even better than what I expected going into this one. Yeah. And honestly, I'm gonna say this right now. This is my favorite movie of 2024 so far. Yep, it has officially dethroned Dune Part 2. I never thought I would actually admit that, but Yeah, it's true. This movie is even better than Dune Part 2. I know y'all are gonna be like, what? How is this better than Dune Part 2? Dune Part 2 is objectively the best movie of the year. I don't care, y'all. I mean, this movie is like, I mean, I just simply like this movie more. There's like nothing else. In fact, like, there's a high chance that this could actually remain my favorite movie of the year until the year when the year ends. Like, I might actually even put this at number one in comparison to all the other movies. Deadpool Wolverine, it's possible. I won't be shocked, but it's gonna have a lot to live up to in order for me in order for this to be topped by Deadpool Wolverine. And if you saw my my top 30 favorite movies of all time list on Letterboxd, this came so damn close to being number one, to being in my top 10 favorite movies of all time list. This is like number 12, 13, like somewhere around that spot. Yeah, it's so close. Oh yeah, I remember now. It's my like 13th favorite movie of all time. Or 14th, I guess, but whatever, you get the point. Yeah, Furiosa is right up there. And it is certainly one of my absolute favorite movies of the decade so far. Then no, it's not my favorite movie of the decade. It's in Wish or Spider-Verse or Elemental, I guess. I think it's on the same level as Elemental when it comes to my favorites of the decade so far. Yeah, Furiosa would be like Elemental level, but still, it's just, yeah, mind-boggling on how a movie like this would top Dune Part 2, because I love Dune Part 2 so much, and maybe it's because I just wanted to have a more unique favorite movie of the year, I guess, but yeah, because I always wanted to strive for something unique. Like, I'm someone who always wants to have a more unique, and I'm not doing this on purpose, unlike a certain user we don't speak of. I'm not doing this on purpose. I just think about movies differently than everyone else, and I think people should just accept that. And speaking of being unique and different with opinions, I honestly think that this is the best Mad Max movie, period. I know some people get angry at that because Mad Max Furiosa exists, but Furiosa is better in almost every single way, honestly. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Now, yeah, let's examine what makes Furiosa my favorite movie of the year and my favorite Mad Max movie. Now, I just want to give a heads up. This is different from Furiosa. Yeah, this is very different. Like, it's almost the equivalent of Rian Johnson's as Last Jedi being different from Force Awakens. Like it's going in a very different direction. Like it's like you expect this one thing, but actually the movie isn't. Like, it's trying to subvert the expectations or something. But here's the thing. This all of those, the different stuff, the stuff that you weren't expecting, it actually made the movie better and stronger, where it can actually appeal to everyone. When it comes to Mad Max Fury Road, there are actually some people who say that movie is overrated, mainly because of how it lacks story and character development, and in favor of just multiple prolonged action scenes and only like 2 minutes with characters, 2 minutes of characters breathing throughout. But yeah, when you see, if you're aware of how long this movie is, it's 2 hours and 28 minutes, like, which is like half an hour longer than Mad Max Fury Road. And there is a good reason as to why it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm very sure people would have complained if they just saw 2 hours and 30 minutes of non-stop action. Furiosa is not a non-stop action movie. It's not. I mean, it certainly has less action scenes than the Fury Road for sure, but it actually has more plot and characters. It takes its time to build upon its story and character development. And it's able to balance that with high octane badass action. And this film still has plenty of action, don't get me wrong, but it just has a very cohesive and tight story and characters. This can actually appeal to both people who love the non-stop action of Fury Road and didn't care about the plot, and people who criticize Fury Road for not having enough plot and character development, and because they care so deeply about having plot and character development rather than just enjoying the film no matter how thin the plot is. It actually appeals to both sides of the audience. So like they can just come together and just enjoy this movie for what it is. I'm not surprised that this movie is not considered very Fury Road because Fury Road's rating it set the bar really high, and especially with all its Oscars wins. I'm still baffled that it didn't win Best Picture. It just shows the Oscars hate action movies. And and also one of the things that people were concerned about this film is that it was just another prequel or spin-off, and they didn't have a good track record. Like one perfect example of that is last 2022's Lightyear, where it was just one of the most divisive animated films of all time, more geared towards the negative because it's a prequel spin-off to a secondary main character to a beloved franchise, and people just thought it was unnecessary. That kind of shows how prequels have poor track records. And if they're well received, then it's going to be completely ignored. Like Monsters University, for example, it's a film that people like, but then that just suddenly ignore and not talk about, which just sucks. But Furiosa is a film that I'm sure, and I am hoping that it will get people to talk about it because it was certainly deserve it. And now one thing I love about this film is that it actually used the chapter 1 text. You know, in those auteur movies, auteur is how you pronounce it, like, but you know what I mean by that, like films where the director is like the author of the film, and a lot of these auteur films are art house films. Yeah, I know those kinds of movies where it would just have like the text transitions, like chapter 1 and then this and then subtitle, chapter 2 subtitle, chapter 3 subtitle, all that stuff. This film had it, and when you actually saw it after the prologue that had chapter 1 with a subtitle, like you knew it was going to be something truly special. Now the first 1 hour was mainly focused on young Furiosa and Dementus. It was building upon Dementus's villain motivation, as well as Furiosa's character development and why she's doing what she's doing. It does take a while for young Furiosa to transition into the Anya Taylor-Joy Furiosa that we came to this for. Now, some people might complain about it being slow, but I'm already gonna immediately defend that first act, that first hour, in case people are just going to be like, oh, it's too much young Furiosa. In fact, some people already criticize the movie for spending too much time with young Furiosa. Now, let me ask you, have you seen movies like The Lion King and TV shows like The Queen's Gambit? I'm going to use those two as examples because they have this character progression where they start off with the young version of the main character, and they take a lot of time, like as long of a time as possible, before they get into the adult version of the main character. In The Lion King, for example, the entire first half of the movie is young Simba and Simba coming of age, and Mufasa pretty much teaching Simba about the world. It took like 45 minutes, I think, for young Simba to transition into adult Simba. Heck, young Simba actually had more screen time than adult Simba. Honestly, I prefer young Simba. That's something. And the Queen's Gambit had an entire episode dedicated to Beth Harmon being young, like showing Beth Harmon's childhood. Yeah, sure. There was actually a prologue showing Anya Taylor-Joy's Anya Taylor-Joy, like adult Beth Harmon, like going up about to play chess, and then it just cuts to a flashback that remained throughout the entire first episode. So that's something, but still, it helps you get on board with a character from her early days. So I think having Furiosa focus so heavily on her young self is really a smart move because it helps you get more on board with the character. And plus, you gotta get props to the actress. What's her name? Yeah, yeah, Brown. What's her name? Alila Brown. Yeah, Alila Brown. Yeah, I know Anya Taylor-Joy, all that praise. I'll definitely get to Anya Taylor-Joy later. I want to focus more on this part first. Yeah, Alila Brown. Yeah, honestly, she has given an incredible performance as young Furiosa, and I think it's just her performance that helped me be patient to get to adult Furiosa because in order for to get audiences to be impatient, you gotta be like, oh my god, get over, I don't care. But I truly cared about it. And I think the main highlight of the first half of the movie is simply the relationship between young Furiosa and her mother. What's her name again? Well, just the mother. I'll say that. And yeah, and because of just how invested you are, you really like care so much, and you're like, okay, I don't need to rush. I don't want to see Anya Taylor-Joy right away. Take her time to build upon this character, and yeah, and I just love this mother so much. She is such a badass, and she's willing to do all she can to protect young Furiosa. And there's even a scene where she literally fights off all the bike riders. She just hits them with a gun and shoots them continuously. And she has a lot of smart strategies. It's just unfortunate that her mother was killed. But that's an important plot point for Furiosa's mother to be killed out because it's what motivated Furiosa to get fuel to fight. I hope Harry Thomas doesn't criticize this movie for killing off a mother because every single movie that kills off women, yeah, you know how he feels. But let's be real here. If Furiosa's mother didn't die, then Furiosa would not have been a badass. Furiosa wouldn't have been in this war. She wouldn't have fought, and there would be no impact. So I hope I made a point. Hey, at least the movie made it up with girl power, and yeah, this is simply a girl power movie. And I'll get to that later on when I talk about the adult Furiosa. But yeah, but at least seeing young Furiosa and her mother together, it's just so good, and especially when it comes to seeing her save Furiosa's life, it's just great, and even if Furiosa's mother is dead, it actually still continues. Like young Furiosa is still around, and now we get to see like her get into this gas town, and it's now. I won't spoil too much, but I'm technically not spoiling. Don't worry, it's not really like a big spoiler. But yeah, now Furiosa gets to this wasteland, the place where Mad Max Fury Road took place, and basically like Immortan Joe, where he's in at the base. I forgot what it's called honestly. So yeah, young Furiosa is taken there, and Immortan Joe takes her, and yeah. And we also get to see Furiosa meeting those women for the first time. Remember those women, those attractive, sexy women from Mad Max Fury Road? Yeah, they're there in this movie. They're actually featured in this movie. And a minor plot point in this movie is how Furiosa met them. And they're all like pretty much basically abducted by Immortan Joe and taken to this room, this very hidden room with a vault very similar to what we saw in Mad Max Fury Road. And yeah, that was an essential minor plot point. And yeah, and once we get into to Anya Taylor-Joy Furiosa showing up, oh man, that's when the movie started reaching peak levels. So and even just the second the action scene and that first action scene started, I was like immediately, I was like, okay, this is already the best movie of the year. Yeah. Um, in the first hour, it took me time for me to decide, and I was like thinking, oh no, it's not on top 2.2. I don't think it's, but just when that action scene hit, yeah, it's still, that was when I was like, okay, this is the best. Okay, it's reached its peak. It's the best movie of the year already. That was the part. And heck, at least the first 1 hour of the movie, like the parts with young Furiosa, it still had its action scenes. Like there were still some big action scenes in there. So it's not really not really a slow burn. It's just that the action scenes don't go on for too long because the movie is still desperately developing its story and characters. But yeah, I mean, man, yeah, the action scenes in this movie are absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, yeah, a lot of them are very similar to Mad Max Hero, but dare I say, they're actually done better with just by the fact that you're seeing Anya Taylor-Joy's Furiosa fight. That is already enough to convince me that this is better action than Mad Max Fury Road. Especially with Furiosa doing things that really have my jaw dropping. Yeah, because of how badass she is. And the film also continues its quick cut editing. It's so good, man. I still think Challenger has is the best edited film of the year, but Furiosa is not far behind. Yeah, and man, the action is just badass. The film uses girl power very efficiently, and it's not going to make you feel like that Furiosa is just a girl boss, and it's not trying to be anti-male. Heck, Furiosa actually teams up with a man throughout. Yeah, Furiosa actually isn't alone because you got Tom Blake's character, Tom Brooks' character, Jack. I think his name is Jack. I'll just call him Jack. But I think he had like a first name that start with a P. But yeah, I'll call him Jack. Furious and Jack have this great chemistry with each other. And yeah, I actually didn't really expect that they would team up. And yeah, man, it's just so good to see them together. And yeah, and while the action scenes aren't as prolonged as Mad Max Fury Road, they're still definitely they're just more exciting and it gave me more goosebumps. And if you thought that Mad Max Fury Road like action scene isn't enough, man, the action scene just gets better and better from there. My personal favorite action scene was in this gas town thing, like this abandoned, where like there's like this group of people who are living there, and then they're like shooting Jack and a bunch of other truck drivers. Basically, this is actually a scene that's shown in the trailers, and it's like one of the biggest takeaway from the trailer. Basically, when like it's the one with the gate, and you see gate closing as it crushes a car, and then there's like, and then one of the rivals blows torch, and then we see like the torch hitting the gate while Furiosa is like leaning at the back of the gate while like trying to avoid the fire. Yeah, that's the action scene that I consider my personal favorite. And in that same action scene, we see like Furiosa and Dementor's like going 1-on-1, that's shooting each other, like having a pit against each other, and yeah, and even the climax is great. Maybe I will admit it was probably the weakest action scene in the film, but no, that's by no means a bad action scene. It's still a badass action, especially that the final battle is basically where Furiosa gets her iconic short hair, even though I just much prefer Furiosa's long hair. In fact, my favorite scene in the film is actually the moment, the final moment we get to see Furiosa with her long hair, with her sexy long hair before she cuts her hair. Yeah, we get to see like Furiosa, Immortan Joe, and bald guy, Rictus Erectus, I think. Basically just trying to spy on Dementors, like trying to search for Dementors, and then we see Furiosa there. and she had like basically her hair down. She had like a different hairstyle. Like her hair is like pretty much completely down, and man, she looks so damn hot when her hair is down. I mean, not as if she's already hot because honestly, Furiosa is my crush of the year so far. Well, I do think that Sam LaRusso from Cobra Kai, and also Devon Lee are going to be my biggest crush, my favorite characters and biggest crushes of the year, particularly Sam. But yeah, Furiosa is already my movie crush of the year. Let's be real here. And yeah, speaking, and also in that same scene, we see Furiosa getting her robot arm. As the film also showed how Furiosa lost her arm, and let me tell you right now, man, it is brutal as hell. Yeah, it's very brutal seeing Furiosa, her hand getting crushed here. I won't explain how she lost her hand, but I'll just say it got crushed. That's all, I won't say how specifically. But yeah, you'll figure it out when you see the film. And let's talk about the performances. Oh man, the performances are incredible, especially with two ones. Chris Hemsworth gives his best performance in his career. He's known more as Thor, but when it comes to the Mentors, oh man, he is just like the movie does a really good job at crafting the Mentors and making him a hateable villain. One, and he's like by far the most memorable Mad Max villain. Period. And while I don't think people are going to agree with me that this is the best Mad Max movie, I have a feeling you are going to agree with me that Dementos is the greatest Mad Max villain, period. And I'm sure people will remember him mainly because of Chris Hemsworth's name. And not only that, but he's just a memorable and menacing and over-the-top villain. Chris Hemsworth really knocked it out of the park with his acting. I still think Avengers Infinity War and Endgame are Chris Hemsworth's best performance, but yeah, this one's just as good. But the real MVP of the movie, well, before that, I want to talk about the young Furiosa actress, Lila Brown, because my God, she gave one of the greatest child performances in recent years, and she's actually going to be playing Maria Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and let me tell you right now, after seeing her in this film playing young Furiosa, Maria Robotnik is now one of my most anticipated characters of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Her, Captain Rockwell, Kristen Ritter's character who played Jessica Jones, and well, obviously Shadow, voiced by Keanu Reeves. Yeah, they're all my most anticipated Sonic the Hedgehog 3 characters, and I predict that they're going to be my favorite Sonic 3 characters. I'm sure, I bet my ass Maria Robotnik is going to be even better than Mr. Robotnik himself. But yes, Anya Taylor-Joy is without question the MVP of the film. I'm going to go as far as saying this is Anya Taylor-Joy's best performance, period. Yeah, I love Anya Taylor-Joy. Like she, yeah, sure, Furiosa doesn't really have a lot of dialogue, and because Furiosa was silent for a long time, but you can clearly still feel her acting by her expressions and her body movement. So it's not just all exposition, all that stuff. I think Furiosa being quiet and Anya Taylor-Joy giving a silent performance, it really works so well for her character. And yes, I'm not sure which is Anya Taylor-Joy's best project. It's between this and The Queen's Gambit. I'm actually planning to rewatch The Queen's Gambit because thanks to this film, this film made me even more obsessed with Anya Taylor-Joy than ever, and I'm willing to revisit The Queen's Gambit. The show that's the reason why I'm in love with Anya Taylor-Joy. But yeah, Furiosa is currently as of now my favorite performance from her. I will need to reflect on that. So yeah, and yeah, oh yeah, and for those who complain about the visuals in the trailer, I hope that you actually appreciate the visuals here, because I'm sure the visuals here will have changed from the trailer, because let me tell you right now, the visuals are great too. I saw nothing wrong with the visuals, and heck, even the cinematography is great as well. The shots are beautiful. The sound effects are great as well. And there's just so many other. It's pretty much perfect when it comes to pretty much all the technical aspects of it. And also yes, regarding the long runtime, yes, I will admit I did feel the lengthy runtime, but that's a good thing because Furiosa is one of those films where it's just so good that you don't want it to end. You don't care about doing any other things. Like I don't care about what I have to do for the rest of the day. I just want to sit here all day in my theater and watch Furiosa. That's the feeling I got when watching this one. So yeah. So overall, Furiosa and Mad Max Saga is just my favorite movie of the year and the best Mad Max movie. Like this movie is everything I wanted it to be. This is the movie that I have been waiting for since 2021, like for many years now. And it is certainly one of my favorite movies of the decade. In fact, dare I say, this might actually be my favorite live action movie of the decade. Because let's be real here, my top favorite movies of the decade, which inspire first and I guess Elemental, are animated films. But this one is, out of all the live action movies, this is my favorite so far. And I urge you to watch this movie. Yeah, guys, please watch this movie. Don't let this movie flop on the same hands as Garfield. Don't make this the Nice Guys of the decade. Yeah, remember when Nice Guys, in an actual quality movie, bombed for releasing the same day as a piece of crap animated cash grab from Sony known as the Angry Birds movie. Yeah, remember that moment right there? Yeah, that was insufferable. I don't want to see this movie flop in the same hands as Garfield because Garfield movie sucked. This movie was way better. So yeah, if you want to go see a movie this weekend, choose this one. Don't watch that kitty litter garbage known as Garfield. Yeah, check out my random Garfield if you haven't yet to see like why I think Garfield is a terrible movie. If this movie bombs at the box office, mark my words, I'm going to make a rant video on that. So yeah, anyways, with that said, I'm going to give Furiosa a 5 stars out of 5, obviously. I'm debating if I should actually give this a 6 out of 5, but I think 5 out of 5 is good for now. Oh, and also, yes, Dude Part 2 gets a 5 out of 5, no longer 6 out of 5. So yeah, that's all for my review of Furiosa and Mad Max Saga. What are your thoughts on the film? Would you agree with me that, well, this is the best Mad Max movie if you've seen it? And if you haven't seen it yet, are you excited for this film? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for more videos to come. I am actually planning to do a top 10 favorite action movies of all time list because this movie made me want to do it since this is one of the greatest action movies I've ever seen. And also stay tuned for my next big review, which is the story of my reviews for the X-Men franchise, leading on to Deadpool, Wolverine, and also in honor of X-Men 97 with the original 3 X-Men movies, X-Men 2000, X2, and The Last Stand. So yeah, bye guys.